So 125 and 250 was basically just me and a mechanic, you know, and my mom and Keith and dad and that kind of whole setup. And then, but like when I was on a 125, 12 and 13, I started riding a 250. I started racing it when I was 14. I started riding when I was 13. And then I got on the 250. Then when I was riding the 250 when I was 14, I started riding a GSXR 750 at the track. But it was just stock, street tires on it, just kind of learning the size and everything. And then when I turned 15, that's when I signed with Valvoline Suzuki. And they gave me a 600. Same thing, I was riding 600 and 750, kind of both deals. And then, you know, formerly USA when I was 15, Wera stuff. And then 16 started, you know, AMA.
So you basically, from 7 years old, got on a road race bike to then 15, you're signed to a team.
Yeah.
Like actually signed, you were getting paid at that point?
15, yeah. I was getting not a lot, but a little bit.
Yeah.
So.
And so do you think, like, obviously comparing to now, right? Like as a parent,
yeah.
you can't even, if you could hear that was a possibility as a trajectory, it would make it a lot more realistic or feasible for you to get your kid involved. You're like, okay, well,
yeah,
you know, there's a chance within the next, I mean, in your case, it was less than 10 years and you were making a paycheck.
Yeah.
Obviously, do you think makes it a bit more difficult to entice people to get involved now?
I mean, yeah, I'm sure it doesn't help too much.
Yeah.
I mean,
I guess what I'm asking is like, was your mom looking at it like, oh, this is actually like a career path for him because of the fact that you're 15 making money?
Yeah, when I was pretty much 14, I would say, like with the landscape of racing and what you knew about people making money, as in the lowest paid factory guy and all this kind of stuff. Like when I was 14, the decision was, I'm going to be a motorcycle racer. You don't know how good you're going to be and you don't know how much money you're going to make and all that kind of stuff, but it's like, that's going to be my career, you know? So that's when, honestly, at 14, kind of motorcycle racing was a bit more than school for me, you know, traveling a lot, and all that kind of stuff. And then, you know, I finished, stopped school after my sophomore year because we were just traveling so much. And
when you say stop school, you mean like go to homeschool?
Yeah, homeschool, yeah. And then because I tell people this story, and it's crazy now because I have kids, but it's literally how I looked at racing back then when, you know, because my dad, he was for racing, but he was also like, until I was making good money, he was like, you've got to have a backup plan. I was like, I get it, but I said, racing's it, you know, and I said, I can make money doing it. And this was right when I was like 15-ish, and the bigger money was going to slowly kind of start coming in. And I just told him, I said, Dad, if I can't make money racing motorcycles, it's because I'm in a wheelchair. So I was like, I have to put everything into it, and that's it. Because again, we know that I'm good enough to have a career now racing. You don't know how good you're going to be, but it's going to be that. Or if I can't do it, I can't go to work because I'm hurt, you know. And that's the way I, you know, being that age. And I can't imagine being a parent now and my kid telling me that. I'd be like, really? Like, you know. So, but that's the way my thought process was back then. Yeah. I mean, it was that serious.
And when you say lowest, when you guys were looking at the lowest factory salary, what kind of numbers was that? Like then?
It's, you know, back in like, I would say 2000, you know, I would say the lowest guys were probably, you know, probably $200,000 to $300,000, something like that.
Hopefully there's not too many people depressed now. Yeah, listening. It's not like that anymore.
No, and again, it's hard to say exactly what the lowest ones,
yeah.
but you knew that like the top guys were getting over $1 million, you know, and then the lower, but it was enough, like that's more than what I'm going to make doing this type of a job. Yeah. So
and that was like I mean, there was like 10 guys, so there was like you could be 10th as a factory guy because there's so many motorcycles out there.
Yep.
I mean, that's insane, you know, thinking now like you could be finishing 10th making a couple $100,000.
Oh yeah.
I mean, different times for sure, but
yeah.
Wow.